Welcome to Conveaux and Co. The talk show where nobody just watches. I'm Bella, and here's how this works. I drop the topic, we watch the clip together, I give you my honest take, and then I need yours in the comments, okay? There's a question on the screen every single segment. Use it. This is a conversation and I expect you to show up for it. Now, before we get into today's topics, if you haven't already subscribed yet, I'm asking you to fix that right now. Hit your subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and send this to at least one person who will actually have something to say about today's topics. The show only gets bigger when you bring somebody with you. Today's topics are: how long is too long to be engaged? Are you tipping your Uber and Lyft driver? The BBL smell, the long nail smell. Yes, we're going there today, y'all. And paying extra to sit next to the person you booked with. Okay? Today's first topic is: how long is too long to be engaged? Right? So at what point does an engagement stop being a promise and start being a situationship? Because there's a difference between taking time to plan a wedding and just wearing a ring indefinitely with no direction and no date. We're going to watch this clip. And then I want to talk about what a long engagement actually says about where both people are in that relationship, because I have thoughts and I think you do too.
Man, y'all need to start renewing y'all engagements. I asked a couple, how long y'all been engaged? Oh, 3 years. The fuck y'all engaging in? Not no goddamn wedding, I see. The fuck is, what? Man, if I propose to a woman, you got 7 business days to get your affairs in order. We going to that courthouse, and then after that, we can plan that wedding. And ain't nobody gotta know we officially married, but we can plan that wedding after we go to that courthouse. Fuck, I'm engaged to a woman for 3 years, folks. You got 7 business days. Hell, y'all be doing with them long engagements. Y'all gotta renew them shits. An engagement expire after a year around here. Y'all gotta start renewing that shit. He gotta redo it. Or y'all gotta leave each other alone. Cause I don't get them long ass engagements. I don't understand them. Oh, we're planning the wedding. Plan that shit. Now nobody say you can't plan to have the wedding that you want. But that ain't stopping actually getting married. Long ass engagements. Y'all just boyfriend and girlfriend pro maxes. That's it. A girlfriend and boyfriend pro max. And it's time to update y'all shit. The new version is coming out because y'all been engaged too damn long.
I have always joked and said, if a man ever asks me to marry him again, I am going to get married within 24 to 48 hours. Baby, you ask me to marry you, you better be ready to get on a plane to go to a state that allows same-day weddings. I am not here to play with y'all. Just because we get married doesn't, very soon, you're not going to have the opportunity to change your mind. Just because we get married doesn't mean that the ceremony can't happen at a later time. And I think that's what people forget, is that just because you have a wedding date, right, that you have in mind, that doesn't mean that you can't get married and then have the luxurious ceremony that you envisioned at a later date. Some people are very specific on a date they want to get married, like Valentine's Day or 7-Eleven and New Year's Eve. And I understand, because numbers mean things. Hello. But when we get into the conversation and the topic of an engagement carrying on for more than a year, what is the reason? I think for some people, they get shut up here damn rings. And it's like, the girl lets it be known that, hey, you have 2 years to marry me. And then, if not, this is going to be over. And I do not think women should tell men their timeline of expectations, because at that 2-year mark, babe, you're going to get a ring. And then for it to be drug out how long, right? So I always say, once someone proposes to you, go get married secretly, immediately. They can't change their mind. Well, they can change their mind, but get it done. And then when people say, well, when is the wedding? When is this? When is that? You can plan the actual ceremony of it all, right? Because you're already married. If this is something that you want to do, what is a problem with doing it right now? And then you can actually have the ceremony on that particular date that you were looking forward to having or wanting your commitment on. There's no reason for me, in all honesty, if you don't get married within a year, to drag out the engagement just because you want to. People always say they want to do it right, and that's what I was about to say before I cut myself off. What is the do it right? What is doing it the right way? Traditionally, right? There's in 2026, there's no right way. We are literally at war right now. Do you love me or do you not? Do you want to get married or do you not? So for me, getting married is just one part of it. The ceremony is something totally different. There are people that will drag it out because it's not something that they really want to do. They don't want to really get married. And you can tell by the extension, the 2, 3, 4 years. And when you have the people that say, oh, we have been together for 13 years, right? And they'll say, oh, we were together for 10 as boyfriend and girlfriend, engaged for 2.5, and we just got married, on this 3rd year. And it's like, it took someone 13 years to make that commitment. And the commitment, some people say, oh, it's just a piece of paper. But when it comes down to the law and the rights that you have, when someone dies or someone is incapacitated, or when it comes down to probate court and people are, trying to say this is theirs or whatever it is, that piece of paper absolutely matters. It absolutely matters. Now, this is something different, have nothing to do with the topic. Can you get those same privileges without being married? Absolutely. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people do not make sure that their affairs are in order. So the most common way to go about it is via marriage. I'm not going to have a long engagement. And in my opinion, you shouldn't either. And once I see the engagement go on for so long, in my opinion, it's not about money because the ceremony is about money. The actual marriage, you could get married for what, $50? I charge $250. And that's just because I'm new. A lot of people charge way more than me to come to your ceremony and, officiate. But with that being said, I think the most of the time it's the man that doesn't want to commit, the woman not wanting to put pressure on, don't want to put pressure on him, and also the woman settling. Any engagement over a year is a woman settling. Period. And I'm speaking from that sense because I am a woman, right? So apply your pronoun to whatever you are in your relationship, and you're settling if you are engaged over a year. And I don't care what anybody says about that. You're not going to be able to change my mind on that. Now, next up, Uber and Lyft drivers. The tip screen comes up and a lot of people are closing it without a second thought. Now, I want to be clear. We are talking about someone who picked you up and got you there safely. Maybe they didn't talk your ear off while you had your headphones in, right? And what made you close out of that tip screen without tipping, right? The question becomes, is tipping your driver a courtesy, or is it an expectation built into a service you already paid for? Watch this clip, and then I'm going to give you my take.
This is just your somewhat unfriendly reminder to tip your frickin' Uber and Lyft drivers, okay? If you can afford to take the ride, you can afford to tip a couple dollars. 2, 3 would be great. 5, 10 would be better. But shit. This not tipping thing, it ain't the move.
Just because someone can afford a ride somewhere doesn't mean that they can afford the tip. And that also goes for eating. And this is about tipping across the board in the United States. I'm just going to use this video as Uber and Lyft as a catalyst to the conversation. When you go to Europe, baby, you're not allowed to tip. It's very offensive to them, right? But since we're in America and we don't pay our workers what they are worth, there's a tipping society. Now, I think it's unfair to people that use services to be mandated or expectant, right, of the service provider to tip. Now, a lot of people again say, well, if you can afford the service, you can afford the tip, and that is not always true. Sometimes people only have enough to get by. So, if you see someone going into a restaurant ordering a meal because they are unhoused, who is to say that they even have tipping money? And the reason why they have to do that is because they don't have somewhere to cook their food. So even moms, even dad, anybody in the family can say, okay, I have this amount of money. This is what we're going to do today. This is how I can, treat my family to an experience. And again, they have enough just to eat. Don't tell them to go eat at home because, in my opinion, everyone deserves to have the experience of eating out, being outside with everybody else, and not just being doomed and condemned to their home because they don't make enough money to tip. Now, when you work a service like Uber and Lyft, babe, I'm sorry to say, you agreed to that dollar amount to drive because you accepted the ride. I am also going to tell you that I can speak on this topic because I have done Uber, I have done Lyft, I have done Amazon Flex, I have done, what's another driving app that I've did? DoorDash, Uber Eats. I've done it all. Did I always get tipped? No. And tipping comes, when you order before the service or whatever it is. And I know that I'm out there working for the base amount. That's my goal. My goal in my head when I went out is said, okay, you can make $150 in an hour and a half. Okay, let's do it. Like dropping off some packages in this rural space. Cool, let's do it. My goal, my number in my head is 150. My goal in my head is never $200, $300. Oh, because these people should tip this amount based on the service that they're getting. No. And that's what I need people to understand. It is very hard right now for people to get jobs. And it is very expensive. People are living in apartments and their light bill is $400 when it used to be $90. Everybody doesn't have it and everybody's trying to make it. Now, one of the ways to change something like this is to go up against these companies, but there are so many sheep that if one person, we can't even collectively boycott something because people will not boycott it just because they don't like people. So trying to beat this labor wage tipping society that we have, it's going to have to be something very, very major and massive to happen for it to stop. I don't know how to even begin to think how we can come up with something that is a greater good for all, because Black people do work for the greater good of all. Now, not to make this a race thing, but it's really a race thing. Right? Tipping society is a race thing because they were like, oh, well, we're not paying y'all. Black people when they used to be servers. And so Black people relied on tips long time ago to be able to make it. And the service industry never changed because the people at the top said, oh, well, it works for us. We can pay them this amount and then they have to work for the rest. Is that fair? No. But it's also not fair to expect the patrons to make up for the lack of pay that you get because you decided to work for a particular company. It's just not fair. I want people to stop telling people that they have to tip, they should tip, and if they have it for a service, because we don't tip our plumbers, we don't tip our mechanics, we don't tip a lot of people in society that are service based. And when you choose a service based industry, you have to understand and also not expect that everybody will give you a tip. And that's just my opinion on that. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about tipping? Have you ever been somewhere and not tipped? Not because you got bad service, right? But simply just because you didn't have it. It gets rough out here. And I'm not even necessarily talking about now. I'm talking about when you were younger. Were there things that you had to do, move around in college, and you weren't able to tip? Y'all let me know how you feel in the comments about this entire tipping situation while we get ready for this next topic. Okay, this next one. Y'all already know I debated on whether or not to go here, and then I remembered that's what this show is. We're talking about BBL smell, the long nail smell, and if you know, you know. And if you don't know, watch this clip and you'll see what some people are talking about. I want to have an honest conversation about body maintenance, personal hygiene, and the things that people notice but nobody will say out loud, all right?
Now it's 2026 and everybody talking about the BBL smell, right? One question y'all have failed to fucking answer. And the people y'all done forgot to fuck about. Them motherfuckers who have fingernails long as our fucking fingers. How is y'all properly cleaning y'all? It's gotta be some kind of smell there too, right? So y'all don't let them off the fucking line because we talking about the BBLs. I don't give a fuck. It's 2026 and I am still curious. Every time I see a bitch with nails that long, I'm like, because, bitch, you cannot be properly getting, like, it ain't just wipe the ass. Like, you got to get up in that bitch, get all the crust out and shit. You can't tell me you doing that with that nail. Because if you doing all that with that nail, then how you eating?
What I've noticed is that you can't compete where you don't compare. And that's on both sides of the spectrum. You cannot compete with a baddie because you cannot compare with a baddie. And that's the reason why women that can't spew bullshit like that. I do have a BBL. I do have a tummy tuck. I have had some lipo. Now, let's really fucking talk about it. When people talk about, oh, what's the BBL smell? What's this? What's that? With any surgery, there can be complications. Complications come in form of infections sometimes. And infections do have a smell. Is that for every single person that's ever had a BBL? No. Is that for every single person who has extra long nails that say that they don't wash their hands correctly? No, it's not. We always have the conversations of particular races going into the restrooms and not washing their hands, right? There's even on my guest sink a brush to be able to clean under your nails. There are times where I have long nails. There are times where I don't. You can go through all the episodes. Yes, nails are on some episodes. Nails are not on some episodes. And how are you cleaning your ass? Baby, it's a such thing as a bidet, number one. And then when you're out, you literally wipe yourself front to back. There's no such thing, in my opinion, once you're fully healed, as a BBL smell. And that can go for anybody, because you could talk about the women that don't use aluminum. You have an odor. When I notice that women specifically, because this was a woman that said this, we're not talking about any other gender. When women specifically talk about women who are able to afford to change their body for whatever reason, whether it's titties, whether it's ass, whether it's lipo, whether it's filler, is because they can't do it. I've seen people downplay, down talk other women on social media so much to say, why are y'all doing it? Ruining your bodies, love the body, God gave you, and this, and that. And who's to say that I don't? But I'm going to love it some more with a little tweaking. And then they come out and say, man, I was saying all that shit because I just wanted it done and I couldn't afford it and da-da-da. And that's something that I know. Often jealousy comes out as hate, because that's what that is. And what's up with the BBL smelling this and that? Comes like, this is an open invitation. If you ever see me out and about in public and you want to smell my ass, ask me and I'll let you smell it. Okay, like, I'm being dead ass serious when I say that. And this is to women only, because y'all get on the internet and y'all play games, and it always comes from women that look a particular way. And when I say look, is homely. You're a woman that, even with your natural beauty, whether you have that or not, you do not adore yourself. You do not love yourself, because you're talking about what other women do and how they smell, because you think every woman with a BBL has a smell. So if you think that, and this goes to that creator as well, if you ever see me out and about, ask me to smell my ass. And I'm going to let you smell it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. That's how we'll dead that right there. But I'm serious. And our last topic for today, you booked your flights together. Same itinerary, same reservation, same trip, same card. And somehow the airline wants to charge you extra to sit next to the person you're already traveling with. Not an upgrade, not an extra seat, no extra legroom, just your seat next to the person. Let's go ahead and watch this clip. And we're going to talk about what this says about airlines, how they operate, and why we keep on accepting it. Let's go ahead so we can have this conversation.
Southwest put my 2 and 4-year-olds in not only completely different rows from me, but from each other for our flights tomorrow. I was having issues checking in, so I called them, and then I found that out. And when I was like, oh, that's crazy, because obviously it wasn't the agent's fault, but I was like, you think that your system would see that these are minor underage children and put them in the same row as their adult. And do you want to know what she said to me? She said, that's what happens when you don't pay to upgrade your seat. You put your children at risk. Mind you, Southwest has only had this system for like maybe a month. This is our first time flying with Southwest in this system. So yeah, heads up, if you are flying with Southwest with your minor children, pay to upgrade your seats so you can make sure that you get to sit next to your children.
Now, this topic absolutely ties into what I was saying before about corporations getting over on the consumer. Because if I buy 4 seats together, right? Let's just even say 3 seats, because that's a row, depending on your carrier, depending on how far you're going. If I buy the 4 seats, 3 or 4 seats together, the airline should automatically take a row and put those people together. Why do I have to pay extra for someone that's on my itinerary? Now, if I'm booking on my card and Jane Doe is booking on their card and we're traveling together, should we have to say, okay, let's spend this extra $7.50, $10, $12, however much it costs to sit next to each other? Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't necessarily have to sit next to every person that I'm traveling with unless it's a child. You know, with children, put them on it, put them on inside, adult, however we're going to sit, the kids are absolutely going to be with us at all times. Now, when it comes to one itinerary, I think it is outrageous that airlines do this. I put it on Threads before. It was so far back. I didn't even try to find it to do proof. And I said, it's crazy. We're on the same itinerary. There were so many specifically white people that came into my comments and said, if you want to sit next to somebody, then pay the fee to sit next to them. I said, are you not understanding? Because this is where literacy comes in. If we are on the same itinerary, Joe Bob, what does it matter? Why should I have to pay this extra money? If you want to say, and that's all they could rebut to me, right? It is a rebuttal, but that's all they can spew back to me. If you want to sit next to somebody, then you need to pay. If we're on the same itinerary, so now it goes back to Black Momming. If Johnny had 5 fucking apples, right? And all people can say is, you need to pay, you need to pay. I was like, this is sheep mentality. If I want to sit somewhere specifically, yes, we pay to sit somewhere specifically. However, if there's 3 people together and it's a what, 747, because I think those are 3s and 3s, then my unit of 3 on one itinerary should automatically be a row. It should not be this person, that person, this person. For what? It's a scam. It's a scam. And I want people to get better at understanding certain things. And sometimes people don't want to understand you because you're a woman, because you're black, because you're a black woman. Some people don't want to understand you because they can't understand you. We have to remember that when we were in school, people were taught differently. As we enter society as a whole, those different thinking people, those not fully functioning brains are in society with us. They're voting, they're working, they're doing all of the things, and they're not comprehending, which is crazy to me. There has to be something that says a change for a particular airline. And even if it's set up as a scam, because, oh, baby, Southwest is tearing their own ass a new one, right? So even if it goes all seats purchased on one itinerary can sit next to each other for free. Babe, it should have been that way from the beginning, right? And people will be like, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. But it should have always been that way. Like, one of the airlines need to come out and say that so the rest of the airlines can follow. That is the purpose of putting me and my child. I shouldn't have to upgrade our seats together if I already purchased our seats at the same time on the same itinerary. And it just gets very frustrating because a majority of the world is slow. And I'm not talking about having a slow moment, a little bit of delayed processing. I'm talking about the people be slow. And if you work in customer service, and if you ever had to do research with an encyclopedia and not just the internet, if you had to actually write out your essays, write out your papers, then that critical thinking comes in, right? So I just want y'all to understand that in order to change a lot of things, we have to come together collectively. If there's any white people, let me put it this way, if there's any other people other than Black Americans watching this, y'all have to work with us. Y'all work against us. Everything that a lot of y'all have is because of us. And it includes these types of changes, the tipping culture, the itinerary culture, the fee for this, and that. And it's just like, for fucking what? For fucking what? Right? That's a lot, going a whole bunch of different places where I could take it. But yeah, that's just how I feel about that. It's crazy. It's a scam. What I say, it's a scheme set up by Todd, baby, because there's no way that you should tell me, again, reiterating the same point that I said like 3 seconds ago, that I should have to pay extra for people that's already being tickets already being purchased at the same time on the same itinerary. And I believe 100% that they're splitting people up on purpose. You're not going to be able to tell me that they're not. And stop asking people to switch seats. And stop stealing other people's seats. Because if that's the case, then y'all need to go ahead and pay beforehand so we don't have this problem. Stop asking. I'm not giving up I don't give a goddamn. I ain't giving up my seat for somebody that didn't purchase seats together, knowing that they wanted to and needed to sit together. I'm not doing it. And that's how we do it on Conveaux and Co. I give you my take on every single topic, and now the floor is yours. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Argue with me if you want to. Don't just be quiet on the other side of the screen. Share this episode, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, and bring somebody back with you next Saturday. I'm BellaThaGawd, and I'll see you then.